We all know from childhood that at the center of our solar system is the Sun, around which the four nearest planets of the Earth group orbit, including Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Following them are the four gas giant planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. After Pluto was no longer considered a planet of the solar system in 2006 and passed into the category of dwarf planets, the number of major planets was reduced to 8. Although many people know the general structure, there are many myths and misconceptions about the solar system. Here are 10 facts you may not have known about the solar system. 1. The hottest planet is not closest to the Sun. Many people know that Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, whose distance is almost half that of Earth to the Sun. Not surprisingly, many people believe that Mercury is the hottest planet. In fact, the hottest planet in the solar system is Venus, the second planet closest to the Sun, where the average temperature reaches 475 degrees Celsius. This is enough to melt tin and lead. At the same time, the maximum temperature on Mercury is about 426 degrees Celsius. But due to the lack of an atmosphere, Mercury's surface temperature can vary by hundreds of degrees, while the carbon dioxide on the surface of Venus maintains an almost constant temperature at all times of day and night. 2. The boundary of the solar system is 1,000 times farther from Pluto. We used to think that the solar system extended as far as Pluto's orbit. Today, Pluto is not even considered a major planet, but this notion has remained in the minds of many people. The scientists have discovered many objects orbiting the Sun that are much farther away from Pluto. These are so-called trans-Neptunian objects, or Kuiper Belt objects. The Kuiper Belt extends to 50 to 60 astronomical units. 1 astronomical unit, or the average distance from the Earth to the Sun, is 149,597,870,700 meters. Even farther away is the enormous rarefied Oort cloud, which extends 50,000 astronomical units from the Sun, which is about half a light year. This is 1,000 times farther than Pluto. 3. Virtually everything on planet Earth is a rare element. The Earth is composed mainly of iron, oxygen, silicon, magnesium, sulfur, nickel, calcium, sodium, and aluminum. Although all of these elements have been found in various places throughout the universe, there are only traces of elements that eclipse the abundance of hydrogen and helium. Thus, the Earth is, for the most part, composed of rare elements. This is not indicative of any special place for the planet Earth, since the cloud from which the Earth was formed contained large quantities of hydrogen and helium. But because these are light gases, they were carried out into space by the heat of the Sun as the Earth formed. 4. The solar system has lost at least 2 planets. Pluto was originally thought to be a planet, but because of its very small size, much smaller than our Moon, it was renamed a dwarf planet. Astronomers also once believed that there was a planet called Vulcan, which is closer to the Sun than Mercury. Its possible existence was discussed 150 years ago to explain some features of Mercury's orbit. However, later observations have ruled out the possibility that Vulcan exists. In addition, recent research has shown that there may once have been a 5th giant planet, similar to Jupiter, which orbited the Sun but was ejected from the solar system due to gravitational interactions with other planets. 5. Jupiter has the largest ocean of all the planets. Jupiter, which orbits in cold space, 5 times farther from the Sun than the planet Earth, was able to retain much higher levels of hydrogen and helium during its formation than our planet. You could even say that Jupiter is mostly composed of hydrogen and helium. Given the planet's mass and chemical composition, as well as the laws of physics, under the cold clouds the increase in pressure should lead to the transition of hydrogen to a liquid state. That is, there should be the deepest ocean of liquid hydrogen on Jupiter. According to computer models on this planet, not only is it the largest ocean in the solar system, its depth is approximately 40,000 kilometers, i.e. it is equal to the circumference of the Earth. 6. Even the smallest bodies in the solar system have satellites. It was once thought that only large objects such as planets could have natural satellites or moons. The fact that satellites exist is sometimes even used to determine what a planet really is. It seems illogical that small cosmic bodies can have enough gravity to hold a satellite. After all, Mercury and Venus have none, and Mars has only 2 tiny satellites, but in 1993, the interplanetary station Galileo discovered a dactyl satellite from the asteroid Ida, only 1.6 kilometers wide. Since then, satellites have been found orbiting about 200 other small planets, making the definition of a planet much more difficult. 7. We live inside the Sun. We usually think of the Sun as a huge hot ball of light 149.6 million kilometers from Earth. In fact, the Sun's outer atmosphere extends much further than the visible surface. Our planet revolves within its thin atmosphere, and we can see this when gusts of solar wind cause the appearance of polar lights. In this sense, we live inside the Sun. But the Sun's atmosphere does not end on Earth. Aurora borealis can be seen on Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and even as far away as Neptune. The farthest region of the solar atmosphere, the heliosphere, extends at least 100 astronomical units. That's about 16 billion kilometers. But since the atmosphere is drop-shaped due to the motion of the Sun in space, its tail can reach from tens to hundreds of billions of kilometers. 8. Saturn is not the only planet with rings. While Saturn's rings are by far the most beautiful and easy to observe, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune also have rings. While Saturn's bright rings are composed of icy particles, Jupiter's very dark rings are mostly dust particles. They may contain minor fragments of decayed meteorites and asteroids and possibly particles from the volcanic moon Io. The ring system of Uranus is slightly more visible than that of Jupiter and may have formed after the collision of small satellites. Neptune's rings are faint and dark, just like Jupiter's. The faint rings of Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune are impossible to see through small telescopes from Earth, which is why Saturn has become best known for its rings. 9. The only object with an Earth-like atmosphere is Titan. Contrary to popular belief, there is a body in the solar system with an atmosphere essentially similar to Earth's. This is Saturn's satellite, Titan. It is larger than our Moon and closer in size to the planet Mercury. Unlike the atmospheres of Venus and Mars, which are much thicker and thinner, respectively, than those of Earth, and are composed of carbon dioxide, Titan's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen. Earth's atmosphere is about 78% nitrogen. The similarity to Earth's atmosphere, and especially the presence of methane and other organic molecules, has led scientists to believe that Titan could be considered an analog of early Earth, or that there is some biological activity there. For this reason, Titan is considered the best place in the solar system to look for signs of life. 10. There are Martian rocks on Earth, and they were not brought from Mars. Chemical analysis of meteorites found in Antarctica, the Sahara Desert and elsewhere has shown that they are of Martian origin. For example, some of them contain gas bubbles, which are chemically similar to the Martian atmosphere. Perhaps these meteorites broke away from Mars due to a collision with a larger meteorite or asteroid, or after a major volcanic eruption.